Hello everyone, welcome back. In the last video we just finished the wheel, and in this video we will continue to make the body of the car. Okay, so I'm going to start from the side closer to the wheel, and then we will keep on creating the rest of them. So let's get started. Let me go to the side view. I think I can start modeling from this area. And you can see that these are actually different pieces. So if you take a closer look, this area is one piece and this area is a separate piece, and from here this is another piece. So we can actually make them as separate objects, or if you want you can also make them as entire single piece, and then you can make the cuts to make it look like it's different pieces. Okay, so I'm gonna make them as different pieces, and maybe we can later merge them if needed. Fine. So let me start with the create polygon tool. We can access the create polygon tool by pressing the we can access the create polygon tool by pressing the shift key, right clicking on a free space, and then choosing the create polygon tool. You can also go to mesh tools and choose create polygon. So if I click on that, then it's asking me to create those polygons. I'll start from here, and 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4. Okay, so I can actually continue doing that till here, 1, and I'll try to maintain the same number of vertices so that we can create a nice mesh. Okay, so now that I've done that, I will add some more edge loops here. Now keep in mind, this is just one method of creating the same model. There are so many different ways you can create. Maybe the next time I model the same car, I may not be using this method. I might be creating it just from a cube, and then I can just model the rest of them. So there's no rules that says that you have to model a car like this. Okay, so you're free to do whatever way that you find to be comfortable to you. So I'll just push it towards the place that I want. Looking good. And I can actually extrude from here, or I can just create them as separate pieces. Okay, so next I can actually just create this part and this part as separate pieces, and then I can continue. I'll go ahead and choose shift right click from an empty space, okay, without any selection, and we'll start creating this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually this thing is also part of this, so I can go up till here, then like so, like so, like so, like so. Okay, so another way of creating this entire area is you can also use a cylinder or a pipe to create this complete bridge, and then you can continue from there. Let me select, shift right click, and choose multi-cut tool, and then I can just create these connections. Okay, and one last. Okay, now when you do this, make sure that you snap them to the vertex points that we have already created, otherwise you might end up with multiple vertices. Fine, so let's make sure that they are all aligned. Okay, so let me see. Now sometimes if you get your pivot point from other locations instead of the center of the object, you can also select the object and make sure that you're in object mode by right clicking and choosing select, and then you can go to modify and choose center pivot so that the pivot point will come to the center. Okay, so I'll bring it somewhere here. Another way of changing the pivot point is to by using the keyboard shortcut insert key or D key. So if I press D, and I can change the pivot point's location wherever I want. Okay, and I'll press the D once again to get rid of that. Looking good. And now let's look at the front view and see where it's supposed to be. Now the front view is not exactly matching with the side view, so we might have to arbitrarily take these values. So I'll try to keep him somewhere like that. Okay, and you will notice that the upper area is actually pushed inside compared to the lower area, and we might want to move this inside. Okay, now basically what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the reference image, and according to that I am just tweaking these pieces. Okay, so I want to make them like so. So down here it is more inside, and when it comes up it's actually coming a little bit out. Okay, so let's try to push this further in, and I might have to do the same thing for this one. Okay, and we also need to push this upper ones a little bit inside. You can see that, yes, that's exactly what we want, like so. Good. So you can see that we have this nice shape from the front view, and this is from the side view. Okay, so we'll have to continue doing the same thing on this object also, and we can actually keep these two things either too close, or we can also merge them in the same location. I mean, snap them in the same location. So I'm not doing that right now. I'll just try to maintain this same location. Might have to push this a little bit out. Push this one also a little bit inside. This one also a bit inside. Okay, for now we'll just leave this as one piece. If needed, we can split them into two. Okay, that looks good. So that's just the beginning. Now let me just continue modeling this this one piece, and then we can model the rest of them. I'll go ahead and select this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 pieces, and I'll do an extrude. This is an edge extrude. I think I'll just keep it halfway down here, and I can use these vertices to reposition the location. Okay, so this one would come a little bit inside, like so. Now make sure that when you're doing these kind of tweaks, don't use the center area to move in the perspective view. Okay, the problem is, like, you cannot control the axis that it is moving, but you can do that in the side view or in the front view, because you will know that it moves only in those two axes. But always, as a standard rule, you can just move with individual axis, so that you will know for sure that it's moving the right way that you want it. Okay, so I think I can just push him like so. Okay, good enough. Now I can make one more extrude that would just cover this entire area. If not, we can just add more. That's not a problem. So let me check the same thing from this front view. As you can see, it came up here, but that needs to be pushed towards the inside of the car. So I'll just push him here. And let me see this one. Maybe in the same place, but if needed, we can change its location. Looking good. Just look at the different views and just tweak them based on the image. Okay, I'm selecting all this and then right clicking and choosing extrude. Then I'll push him like so. And now let me just select these vertices, place them in the next line. There you go. Okay, or I think I might have to do one more extrude, so I'll just keep this somewhat like so. Maybe keep this here. Select this extrude edge, and this extrude we can just take it all the way till there. Okay, so let's see how it looks from the perspective view. I might want to keep this something like that, and just like that. Okay, so once we make the rest of the models, it'll be more clear. So if needed, we can just modify that. Okay, looking good. Fine, let me extrude this area. So one, and you can actually double click on this last edge. Looking good. Let me just continue extruding this. Extrude, pull it up. Now what we can do is we can actually maintain the same number of edge loops, which will be easy for us when we merge it. So I'll just push him up there, keep it something like that. Maybe even keep it a bit low. Okay, good. Let me continue extruding that. Extrude once again, push it up. Okay, so this time I can actually pull this further up. And we can actually take it closer towards the light. Okay, and let me look at the front view. Okay, looking good. Let me just select this edge. Let's look at the front view. Looking good. Okay. So as an overall appearance, I think it looks good. I might want to push this out. Okay, let me just turn on the wireframe so that I can see where these pieces are coming together. If needed, we can also snap them. I'll turn on the point snap and I can just snap it to these points so that they will appear to be connected, but they're actually not. Okay, starting to look good. Okay, so let me just continue on creating these rest of them and then we can move on to the front side. So let me look at the side view. Okay, so here's the door area and this is the bottom one. So what I'll do is I will just make an extrude from here, which would basically take it all the way till the back. You just move to the move tool and go to vertex mode. Just place him at the end. Looking good, but you will notice one small problem here because this is a single piece, but we need to add these vertices along with that. So what I can do is I can simply add 2 more edge loops. Okay, go to edge loop by shift right click and I'll add one here and one here. Okay, so to make them stay together, I can just select these 2 vertices. I have to merge them by shift right click, choose merge vertices, merge vertex, and I'll do the same thing here. Now keep in mind there's a difference between this merge vertex and the point snap. When you point snap, they will be placed in the same location, but still they are 2 different vertices. But when I do merge, it becomes 1 vertex instead of 2 vertices. So that's a difference that you have to keep in mind. Fine. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make this door. I'm going to extrude from what I have already. Okay. Later, if needed, we can make it as a separate piece. So I'm selecting all these vertices, all these edges, and I'm making an extrude. Now, when you pull it out, it might not come the way as you expect. So we can just change it to move tool and then we can pull it out. Okay, so let's start from there. I'll push these vertices around. Place him exactly there. Now you might see that it's not straight, or that is actually straight, but this one is not straight. So we'll have to bring him back to its original place. Let's check here. I think that looks good. I can actually continue that down here. Shift right click, choose Insert Edge Loop Tool. Then add it here. Now let me just select these 2 points and press Shift right click and choose Merge Vertices, Merge. Okay, looking good. And I'll continue making the rear wheel. To have a reference, we can actually make a copy of this existing wheel that we made and put in here. Now before making the duplicate, we can actually get rid of all this history information. Let's go to Edit, Delete by Type. Actually, we can choose Delete All by Type, History, so we don't have any history information now. I'll press Control D to make duplicate, and I'll take him right here. Good. Fine. So now let's go ahead and continue modeling this area. I'll use the same technique as I did before. This entire thing can be one piece, and then this would be a separate piece. I'll make sure that nothing is selected, and I'll press Shift, right click, create polygon tool. Now let's start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 7 and 8. Okay, so there's no strict rule that you have to have the same number of vertices that I'm doing. But keep in mind, if you have too many number of divisions, the difficult it is to work. So the less number of divisions you have, the better it is to work with. I'll go ahead and choose multi-cut tool. So add one from there to here, press enter, add one from here to there, enter, here to there, enter, here to there, enter, here to there, enter, here to there, enter. Looking good. Let's bring it over here, and I can center pivot by going to modify and choose center pivot. Bring it just above that wheel. Okay, so we don't have a reference image directly here, so I can actually check back here. So I think it's approximately the same positions, so I can use the same positions from the front view. Just for a reference, let me just go ahead and right click and choose vertex. So these 2 upper vertices would go here. Their corresponding bottom ones would come out. And accordingly, I can just adjust the rest of them. Okay, so this one goes back, guess somewhat there. So we can also tweak them later, so don't worry if you're not exactly sure how it's gonna look. We can always tweak it later. Okay, so looking good for now. So let's go ahead and make the rest of the extrude. So all the way from there till here, extrude edge. Now this would go up like so. Fine, so let me just take this all the way down here, maybe just like that. Now the key is to have less number of vertices, because we can add them later whenever you want. But the more you have, it'll be difficult to delete them later. So start with less number of divisions and then we can add more depending on the need. So next one I will extrude from here till here. Okay, pull it up. Let me just align it somewhere there. Now let me see, this one goes here. I can actually snap them. So I'll turn on the point snap. Okay, and I'll snap this point there. And okay, so let me just snap this here, snap this here. Let's see, I can adjust this, turn off the point snap, pull it down. Yes, something like that. Looking good. Okay, now I can just extrude this one. 1, 2, 3. Maybe 4. Okay, so let me extrude all this. Change to move tool. I can pull it up. This one I will snap it to this point. This one I can keep it up. Keep it further up. Further up. Yes. Okay, so based on what we have done here, I can also add the divisions here so that this bottom part will match up with that. Let me go ahead and choose insert edge loop tool, add an edge loop here and one here. Now these two are two different objects. I cannot merge them, so what I'll do is I'll simply snap them. So select that one, turn on the point snap, then click and drag. Okay, do the same for all. Okay, so we'll end this tutorial here and then we will continue on in the next tutorial. Thank you.